Hello everyone, Daria here, and welcome to episode number 105 of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. Today we talk about the one and only infamous, scary KGB. And first, as always, listen to the text in Russian, and then we translate it sentence by sentence and talk about some interesting vocabulary. Here we go. КГБ существовал с 1954 по 1991 год и служил основным органом безопасности СССР. Он занимался внутренней и внешней безопасностью, разведкой и контрразведкой. На протяжении Холодной войны КГБ занимался шпионажем, пропагандой и поддержкой коммунистических движений по всему миру. Он был распущен в 1991 году вместе с распадом Советского Союза. Преемником стала Федеральная служба безопасности ФСБ, которая продолжает свою роль в российской безопасности и разведке. Quite short, not that terrible. Okay, now sentence by sentence, let's translate it. So the KGB, the abbreviation itself, KGB, it's pronounced actually as KGB. The letter itself is K, but in this abbreviation it's KGB. So what does it mean? It means the Committee of State Security, right? Комитет государственной безопасности. Also, it's a funny way to remember, if you learn the Russian language and you know colors, it's a funny way to remember the order of colors in the Russian flag, Russian tricolor flag. The bottom is red, in Russian it's красный. The middle is blue. In Russian, it's голубой. And the top is white. In Russian, белый. Красный, голубой, белый. KGB, да, КГБ. КГБ. That's how you remember the order of colors in our state flag. So, KGB existed or was active from 1954 to 1991. КГБ существовал. Существовать means to exist, to function. So the whole organization functioned since 1954. С 1954. Obviously, it's not that they just started their service, of course not. There was a secret police in Tsar times, for example, Nicholas I in the first part of the 19th century was famous for his super active secret police. And in Lenin's time, and it was before, it just had different names, like secret police, the third department, or NKVD. It was just renamed and became KGB, the KGB. So it served as the primary security agency of the Soviet Union. Служил основным органом безопасности СССР. So, служить is the official kind of serious synonym of the word быть. We could easily say КГБ был основным blah-blah-blah. But служил sounds just more serious in this text. So, KGB was a main primary security agency. Основным органом безопасности. We use the word organ Organ can mean a lot of things. For example, in our body, we have organs. It's the same word in Russian, organ, but also we use the very same word for different agencies. So some governmental department can be called organ sometimes. For example, security agency, орган безопасности. And it's interesting, sometimes even police, the synonym of police in Russian would be органы, like organs. So I guess for foreigners it might be a little weird, органы. Okay, USSR, SSSR. And make sure you pronounce it as one word, СССР. This SSSSSSSR, right? So it's not SSSR. No, СССР, one word. Okay, the second sentence, it was handling internal and external security, intelligence, and counterintelligence. Он, meaning KGB, он занимался внутренней и внешней безопасностью. Внутренней means inner, inside. Внешний means outside. For example, the noun внешность means appearance, looks. For example, my appearance, my looks, the way I look. Моя внешность. Моя внешность. Another thing I wanted to mention, why do we use the pronoun он in English? It's he for KGB. Because the abbreviation, again, stands for the word комитет. Комитет. Committee in Russian is the masculine noun, комитет. So abbreviations we replace with the pronoun that matches the main word. Да, комитет. Or, for example, USSR would be he as well. Да, because it would be he. Because it's the union in Russian, союз. Союз. Ends on a consonant, means it's a masculine noun. For example, the word Russian Federation, if you use the abbreviation RF, very common, that would be a feminine noun, and that would be she. Российская Федерация. Федерация ends on a vowel, is a feminine noun. So Russia is she and USSR is he in the Russian language. Okay, so they did inner and outer intelligence, security, blah, blah, blah. Хорошо. The next one, where is it? Throughout the Cold War. Throughout the Cold War. На протяжении холодной войны. На протяжении is actually the synonym of во время. During the time, in the time of something. Во время. So we could easily replace it with во время холодной войны, in the time of the Cold War, or during the Cold War. However, this throughout the Cold War would be на протяжении. На протяжении. For example, we can say kind of for 5 years, на протяжении 5 лет. Maybe for 5 years I've been depressed. На протяжении 5 лет у меня была депрессия. Something like that. Or for 10 years I've been working in this firm. На протяжении 10 лет я работал в этой фирме. Something like that. So it can be different periods of time. Here we talk about the Cold War, холодная война. And we put it in genitive case. На протяжении холодной войны. And in the Cold War, the KGB engaged in espionage, propaganda, and support for the communist movements globally. Ooh, difficult sentence. However, a lot of the words you know. Espionage, in Russian, шпионаж. Basically the same word, right? So, КГБ занимался шпионажем. Занимался шпионажем. The verb заниматься is amazingly useful in daily life, surprisingly, because we use it almost every day. For example, even asking, what are you doing? We can ask, что ты делаешь? But sometimes it sounds a little bit even rude if you come to the room and somebody's doing something. It sounds a little bit too aggressive. Что ты делаешь? What are you doing over there? As if you were kind of not happy with them. So, чем занимаешься is kind of a little softer. Чем ты занимаешься? Super common in text. For example, you text somebody and like, what are you doing now? We would usually ask, чем занимаешься? And this verb requires the instrumental case. Чем. Also, we use it a lot with sports. For example, я занимаюсь футболом. Again, instrumental. Or I do yoga. Я занимаюсь йогой. So this is a super useful verb. Заниматься. KGB, however, was doing espionage, propaganda, and support for the communist movements. Да? Шпионажем, пропагандой, instrumental case, пропагандой и поддержкой коммунистических движений. So, коммунистических движений, communist movements. We have the word communist as a person. We have the word communism as a noun, as the ideology, communism. And we can turn it to an adjective to describe the movement, коммунистическое движение. Remember, Russian language is very flexible with all the prefixes, suffixes, and we change our words a lot. Okay, so globally would be по всему миру, по всему миру, all over the world, по всему миру. For example, all over the world, people celebrate New Year, something like that. По всему миру люди отмечают Новый год. Or по всему, for example, let's say traveling. I like traveling all over the world. Я люблю путешествовать по всему миру. Another super common expression. So KGB was constantly involved in various communist movements, some overthrowing governments, just like the United States involved, CIA involved everywhere in the world. So these two are always together, kind of fighting against one another. If you're interested in this topic, by the way, I have a new course, Understanding Russia, and there, as a historian, I explain all these things and just talk about history of Russia a lot. So if you're interested, please check out the description. I'll be happy to see you there. So communist movements, and like that we go to the last part. Dissolved in 1991 with the Soviet Union. Он был распущен, dissolved, let go, распущен. Be careful with the verb to be this dissolved in Russian, распущен, because also it can mean vulgar. It was about pronunciation. Vulgar? How to say it? Vulgar. I don't know any synonyms. So usually it's about women, kind of derogatory word. Она распущенная, something like that. So better not to use this word with women, распущен. So it was dissolved in 1991, 1991, вместе с распадом СССР, Советского Союза. So remember the Soviet Union, Советский Союз. The word Soviet itself, why is it even called Soviet? That was the organization from the late 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. Basically, it was the committee of the workers, and a working class committee. Soviet. In English, it means council. So technically, it means the council unity. Советский Союз. Распад распад СССР, the dissolution of the USSR in 1991. Okay, so it was succeeded by the Federal Security Service. Federal Security Service has its own abbreviation in Russian. It's FSB. FSB. Again, officially it should be FSB because the letter is FSB. But most people, I would say 90% of people would say FSB. FSB in one word. FSB. And it stands for Федеральная служба безопасности. Federal Service of Security. Федеральная служба безопасности. And which continues its role in Russian security and intelligence. So, Федеральная служба безопасности, которая продолжает свою роль в российской безопасности и разведке. Продолжает. Продолжать means to continue. So it keeps going, it continues its role. Продолжает роль. Роль, at least, is easy to remember because it's the same word. Role, роль, роль. Just a little bit different pronunciation. So its role in Russian security. В, and then we have prepositional case. В российской безопасности. And intelligence и разведке. Intelligence is разведка. Разведка. And that's pretty much it. Of course, KGB is known for some horrible stories from torturing political prisoners. It's absolutely horrible organization, to be honest, but I decided to go light today and not to tell about this stuff. Again, if you're interested, welcome to the Understanding Russia course. It is in English. You don't need to know any Russian to participate. But if you're interested in Russian, I add a lot of authentic Russian materials there as well. Okay, let's read the whole text a little bit faster than the first time, so try to see how much you can understand. КГБ. КГБ существовал с 1954 по 1991 год и служил основным органом безопасности СССР. Он занимался внутренней и внешней безопасностью, разведкой и контрразведкой. На протяжении Холодной войны КГБ занимался шпионажем, пропагандой и поддержкой коммунистических движений по всему миру. Он был распущен в 1991 году вместе с распадом Советского Союза. Преемником стала Федеральная служба безопасности, ФСБ, которая продолжает свою роль в российской безопасности и разведке. And that's it. That's it for today. Please check out the description. Remember, I put the full transcript and the English translation right there. And also, you can check out all the links from my social media and other places where you can find me, or join my premium courses. I'll be really happy if you learn Russian or Russian history with me. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. Пока-пока!